us as mental health workers, advocates, that's our responsibility, is to show that healing looks different to everyone, but also, to offer that to people and give them an alternative, because you can't just get it sitting up in the church. And I love the church, I love God, but there's other things that you have to do. You have to put in the work. And I think that's where a lot of people make that mistake, is that healing is not like snap your fingers and I'm better. Yeah. Like it's work that you, exactly. No, you gotta,
there's no praying it away. I'm sorry. I do love the Lord. He knows me. He hears me. Right. But there simply, if it were like that, I wouldn't be here having this testimony. There is no easy fix. Like you said, you do have to do the work.
Yeah, you have to do the work, and you have to like be really truthful with yourself, and even with the bad things or the hard things. And that's one of the things that, like I said, like, okay, you're not being accountable. Your show was last season. It's, a whole year has gone by. Let's stop. That's why I said, let me just schedule. If I schedule it, then I know I'm going to do it, because I've already committed myself. So I said, let me just start booking. And once I start booking, then I'm going to do it and commit to it, because I know that I'm a procrastinator. That is something that I struggle with. And it's not because I'm lazy, but I'm a perfectionist. And so I'm always like, well, let me do it this way, or maybe I need to do it this way, or maybe I need to do it there. And like today, I would not have done this here last year, but I've grown, because I'm like, I'm not at home, I don't have my backdrop, I don't have this, I don't have my green screen, I don't have a mic, I don't have anything. Today I'm like, no, I told her we're going to do the show, and it's the conversation. It's not about what we look like. Anyway, it's the conversation. And if one person is helped through this, then that's the main thing. But I'm just going on and on and on.
No, because I actually love that point. If I could just say one thing, you guys, start ugly. Like, whatever it is that you're doing, just do that thing. Like, start just ugly, start broke, because I did it. Like, I'm not, like, just do whatever it is that you feel led to do. The help will come, the resources will come, the followers, the money, all of that will come, as long as you're just obedient to, I say obedient to spirit, as long as you're obedient to who or whatever you serve. As long as you're doing that thing, you'll be fine. Trust me, you'll be fine.
Yes, you will be fine. You really will be fine. The last thing I want to talk about, managing expectations, which this kind of ties right into it. Managing expectations. You posted something, I want to say maybe it was a few weeks ago, I'm not sure when it was, but you were talking about managing expectations. How did you...
Were these two videos where I just kind of went off?
It was your video when you went off. I was like, because that's something I had to teach myself. Like, it helped me to stop getting so upset, to stop getting so frustrated, is when I realized that my expectations are not the same as other people's expectations. And once I stopped pushing my expectations onto other people, life became a whole lot easier for me. So I want to hear your kind of struggle, your journey with managing.
No, listen. So those videos, it was one video. I had to split up into two because of Instagram, but that video came from probably my most fed up point last month. Like I said, last month was really a journey. And I think what happened was I got up to here, and it kind of goes back to, what we were just saying about checking in on the strong friend. I have high expectations for myself. I always have. It's a great thing, don't get me wrong, but it is also a trauma response. So trying to balance that out is still a lifelong struggle. But I just felt like, as far as the expectations that I was speaking of in the video, I just wanted people to have a little bit more empathy for folks like you and I. And when I say folks like you and I mean people with, I call it a mental illness. I know that some people, when they think about, their anxiety or their depression, like, mental illness is like a very heavy term, because it's like, ooh, I'm mentally ill, like, whoa, it's very heavy. So I don't, assign that to other people, but I say for me, my anxiety is a mental illness. And I just feel like society, you know, we are having these conversations, we're speaking up, we're speaking out, you know, Simone Biles and athletes and mental health has been like a huge talking point over the past month, but I want us to go beyond the headlines. Right. And I want for us as a society, as a community, to give that same grace to those of us who don't have X amount of gold medals. I want us to be able to, you know, give this grace and this peace and this rest to those of us who are clocking in at the call center job, you know, who's dropping off your USPS packages for a living. I just want us all to do a little bit better in the ways that we treat people with mental illnesses. And so that's really where that whole video came from. And then as far as the expectations go, again, because I'm a person with functioning anxiety, like if I don't tell people, they most likely will not.
They will never know. I get that. Yeah, I totally understand.
They will never, because a long time I didn't know. And I've had it like all my life, like looking back at all the times, it's just like, oh, I've been dealing with this, but I just now found the language and I just now found the help. And there's a lot of other people in our society that's the same way, that are just kind of figuring out what's going on up here. And our world doesn't make space for that. It just doesn't. No. It just doesn't. From the way we work to the way we socialize, our world does not make room for folks with mental illnesses. And so a lot of us who are able to function with it, you know, we turn into the strong friend and we buck up and we do our jobs and we're good, you know, sisters, mothers, husbands, brothers, wives, husbands, all of that. You know, but everybody is still suffering on the inside. Right. And so what I'm trying to figure out as a mental health advocate is everybody's suffering, but no one has empathy for their fellow man. So, like, what's the disconnect here? Like, what's the dissonance? So from that video, I think one of the things that I want to try to do is help our society, or at least if I can't help society, help us, individuals with mental illnesses, learn how to manage expectations for ourselves, because I know we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. A lot of it is self-inflicted, and I know that. So it's managing those expectations for us, and then once we have a good grasp on ourselves and our needs, then that's when we can start having those conversations with those who love us and who are in relationship with us, so they can learn how is it that we need to be cared for. And when I say people in relationship with us, I mean beyond, you know, your cousin them. I'm talking about your boss. I'm talking about your boyfriend, your girl, your partner, whoever. I'm talking about all of these relationships in your life that impact you. Everything we do has an impact on us. Everything we do has an impact on our mental health, negative, positive, in between. And I just want to help us develop a world to where people are paying much more attention to it than when it just pops up on the news. It's happening every day.
But I think what will help that to just kind of become more normalized is us, people like us, is speaking up for ourselves and advocating for ourselves. Like while you were speaking, I was thinking about a few weeks back, I was driving in the car with my mom on a Saturday morning, and I mean, she was talking real good. My mom is a great talker. She needs her own talking. And all of a sudden I felt like I felt a panic attack coming on. I felt my back spasming, and I was driving, and in my head I was like, you can't, not with your mom here. Like she never see me like this. Like, and I kept driving and like shifting, and then finally I was like, okay, because sometimes it depends on how you got to approach it the right way with moms, especially black mothers. And she was, you know, in a good conversation. And I quietly said, Mom, can you please stop talking for a moment? And I think the tone, she saw me and she heard me, and she was like, pull over. What's wrong? Let me drive. And I appreciated that, but it took me a good 15-20 minutes of debating in my head of like, no, you could push through it, just keep driving. And I'm like, no, I don't think I should. Like, I feel like, well, it's not anything physical, you should just, you know, I was having all of these conversations, and she was still talking, and like the more she talked, the more it was like, okay, let me, and I didn't want to shut up, because please, I just need some quiet right now. It's like, my back hurts, everything's hurting, I just need to breathe. So I think us advocating for ourselves and finding the way to communicate the words so that it doesn't, because people have a stigma, and it wasn't, like you said, like my anxiety is high functioning, so to her, she didn't even see any. She
Exactly,
didn't know
yeah.
any. I was just driving along. She had no idea that all of this was going on in my head, and like my hands were getting sweaty. And I'm like, I cannot. My brother would kill me. I'm driving my mama. Like, let me pull over. But I don't want her to call the hospital because there's no need. Like, it's. I know. I just need to breathe. I just need to. Like, I'm doing too much right now. So finding the language to advocate for ourselves and communicating with our family, and that's something that that's why that managing expectations like that really struck me, because it's something, a conversation that's been ongoing with my mother and I find in our relationship it's gotten so much better because the expectations are different. And she understands, like, she hears me when I say, well, I always felt like I had to be perfect or this or that and that, and she's like, why would you think? I never told you that. Well, just from observing how you are with other people, I assumed that your expectations of me were the same. So I've been loving this past month that I've been hanging out with my mom in Atlanta, because she's gotten to see me, and I've gotten to just be myself and be vulnerable. And that's something that we don't always get to do, because we have to be the strong friend.
And that too was something that was actually really difficult for me for a long time, because to your point, I actually had my first panic attack in front of my mom last month. Like the first one that she's actually seen. Again, I probably have plenty of panic attacks in front of people and they don't know. Like they have no idea, because one of the things that I hate about the depictions of mental illness, I'm not saying that people don't have panic attacks this way, because one of my former coworkers, she was one of the first people that I saw, one of the first Black women I saw with like explicit anxiety, like textbook kind of anxiety, that breathing into the paper bag, like that you know is really shown in the media, like, oh, that person has anxiety. Whereas me, and again, witnessing this with her a few years later, literally 2 years later, coming upon the same diagnosis, but I'm looking at her like, that doesn't happen to me. So I don't have it because I don't do that. I don't do that. Like I unfortunately like watched her, you know, be wheeled away on a stretcher. I'm like, that doesn't happen to me. I don't have anxiety. What do you mean? But anxiety exists on such a broad spectrum. Anxiety differs from person to person. How they respond, how they react to it is completely different, and that can vary by, you know, whether or not they even know they have it. You know, if they are taking any medication, if they're not, you know, if they're treating it, you know, with pharmaceuticals, if they're doing it holistically, you just don't know. And that is one of the bigger issues, is that a lot of people simply don't know, because they are looking for that telltale sign of anxiety, of depression, where I have broken down plenty of times and my mom like would never know. But it's just like, why am I hiding this part of myself from her? Yeah, she knows I have anxiety, and she has been plenty supportive. Like, it has never been an issue of like, you know, any weirdness. And you know what I mean by weirdness, like parents. Yeah, it's never been that. Full support from day one. And I just had to get to a point like, why am I hiding this? If there's anybody I can break down in front of, it should be my mama. Like she has literally seen me through it all. Like, why am I not being myself around like the person I'm closest to in this life? So once I got to that, I started like changing up all my relationships, even with the people that I date. You know, I remember one day I was feeling awful, and I'm just carrying on these text conversations like nothing's going on. I'm just like, pause. Like I'm not doing well. I am not okay. Like, and I explicitly, like, I was like, I am having a really bad day. I told him, I'm like, I'm sorry for like faking this conversation. I just don't want to, you know, dump on top of it, but like, I can't keep doing this. Like, the mask has to come off. I can't keep this up. And everyone, you know, them, my mom, like, everyone was really supportive of that. And it's having that support. And I think a lot of people who don't struggle with this think like, that's your mom. Like, of course she's gonna. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. And it's, you know, one of the things that really kind of like hurts me to see is people having these conversations and then therefore kind of having this knowledge but don't apply it. You know, in the kind of whole Simone Biles debacle, you know, have seen people that I know and who know me and who know my brand, and I therefore feel should know better. I've seen them say insensitive things about, Simone Biles, or people who are dealing with mental health issues, or folks that are encouraging her to take a break. And it's those moments that I'm just like, we still don't get it. Like, it's just like, what more can we say? Like, what more can we do? And it's really difficult, because I know that even though that's one person, there's thousands more just like them. And there are thousands more of those people who are in positions of power. And, it's things like that that can really kind of put you in a bad mental space. They're the hard things that we have to think about, especially as people with mental illnesses. But through my work and through my advocacy, like, that's how I'm able to keep going. Like, that's the way I help myself. I can't control other people, but I can control what I put out. I can control what I give you to consume. So having these conversations and to keep having them is vital to me.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And also just like pushing yourself, doing that. That's not something I ever, like you said, being vulnerable in front of our mothers is something that should be natural to everyone. I think Felicity said, like, I view my mom as a person, not just a mom.
Hey, I see y'all. Thank y'all for joining.
Yeah, thank you, everyone, for joining us. But yeah, that was exactly what my mom said to me. She was like, I'm your mom. If nobody else, I'm the one person that you should be able to be completely unmasked, because I'm not going to judge you. You come from me. And it's been great just her seeing little things that are her in me. And she's like, you need to check that, because like, I worked on that about 10 years ago. So you need to start working on that now. But yeah, just having that conversation and being able to vocalize it. For me, vocalizing it has really helped me manage the anxiety a little bit better. Just saying, so I don't feel alone in being able to say, I'm struggling today. I'm having a bad day today. I don't want to get out of bed today. I don't think, and Simone Biles, like, I totally get it when they talked about the twisties and whatnot. I'm like, I totally get it. There's some days that it's like, no, I don't think I should hop behind the wheel and just start driving, because I'm feeling like away. And it's not something that, like you said, if you're not struggling with it, people don't get it, because it's you can't just, that's why they are called mental illnesses, because you can't just be like, I'm good, let me just shake it off.
No, you can't.
No, because it's just like, it's still there. Like, no, we're not good. We're not good. We're not good. I've enjoyed this conversation, and we're definitely, we're going to have another conversation, but I know I've had you on here for a minute.
I know you are good. Yes.
I know I'm on the road. I would love to keep chatting, but I got to get back to my family. But I like to end the show with some I Am affirmations. And I know you have an affirmation deck. I love some decks of cards. So I'd love to hear your affirmation for the week. What is your I Am affirmation?
Oh, one of mine that I've been carrying around is I am protected. And the reason... Yeah, I have been carrying that one around because I feel like, again, July was a month. I was going through a lot of things, but I noticed I'm always able to come out on the other side, and that is no coincidence. Like, I know that it's not, so I just feel like my creator, ancestors, spirit guides, my angels, everything that's sent to guide me is protecting me. So that's been my affirmation for a few weeks now, is I am protected.
Okay, that's a good one. Mine is I am forgiven. And that's something that just spending this time with my mom and having conversations with her and being truly open and vulnerable, because I live in LA, my mom lives in Atlanta, so we haven't actually spent this much time together in probably 8 years, and it was a little rocky the last time we saw each other. But just knowing, not just forgiven from her, but just myself, like you said in the beginning, I am so hard on myself. And so I've got to forgive myself for, whatever mistakes I've made, whatever I felt like I should have done, but I didn't do, but just forgiving myself and being happy in the place that I am, and being, I guess, at peace with where my life is right now. So I am forgiven is mine. That is what I would like to say today. That's my affirmation. And can you tell everyone, I think all of you have friends in here, but can you tell our viewers, because we will re-air this on a later date, where we can find you, what is your information, what's your website, all that good stuff.
All right, you guys. So again, my name is Audreyonna Sequale. That is what I go by on the internet. Again, Adrienne, thank you so much for having me on the show. Finally, I'm glad that I was able to get here. And of course, I'm going to have you on Strong Friend Check-In when we get back in the fall. Again, I am expected to get back in the fall. But you guys can find me on Instagram at authentically_ASB. From there on my Instagram, truthfully in my bio, you can literally find everything you need, but I'm going to throw those other links out anyways. On my website, which is my blog, you can find everything there. That is authenticallyasb.com. If you would like to listen to Strong Friend Check-In, and I suggest you do, again, you can find me on all digital streaming platforms. So that means Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I am hosted by Buzzsprout, which is a local podcast hosting platform in Jacksonville. Love them very much. Yes, I'm hosted by Buzzsprout, so you can look me up on there as well. Also, going back to what you were saying about my affirmation card decks, my way of coaching is a bit unique, so I actually coach through my products. So if you visit liveauthenticallywithatHasb.com, and again, you can find this in the link in my Instagram bio. You'll be able to find it on authenticallyasb.com. I'm everywhere, guys. But if you visit livewithauthenticallyasb.com, you'll be able to find my Black Girl in Bloom affirmation card deck, as well as the accompanying journal. I will tell you guys, you have until 11:59 p.m. tonight to get 15% off the journal. So I would suggest that you guys take advantage of that. If I'm feeling generous, I may extend the sale.
Awesome.
Yes, I might do that. It's been a good Friday. Maybe I'll extend it till tomorrow. But yes, you guys, you can find me literally everywhere. But at the end of the day, just come find me on Instagram at authentically_ASB. Like everything's in that bio. If you hit that link, it's all right there.
Well, I am so happy and grateful that you took the time to talk to me today and share a little bit of your story. Again, like I said, I am so proud of this next generation of young women who are just taking the bull by the horn and standing up for themselves and doing what they need to do. I'm thankful that you're doing the work. I appreciate you, and I can't wait to hop on the podcast because it's going to be on in the fall.
Yes. Absolutely.
And thank you for joining us on season 2, the first episode of Melanin Vibes.
Yes,
we are back, and we will be here every Friday. I think we did it a little later today, but every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be here on Instagram, and you can check me out at BohemianBap or BohemianBap.com. And thank you, Audreyonna. You have a fabulous weekend, and embrace the journey, everybody. Just embrace the journey.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Bye.